You are very welcome. Water here, if you guys would like some water. Yeah, help yourself.
It is soursop, lavender, calendula, and agave, and ice. It's cold tea. You can get a cup and try it.
For creating a plane for us to live and thrive, the abundance of fruits that she provides, and I would love for all of us to get acquainted. So if we can go around this way, we can do a brief, hello, my name is such and such, and your favorite plant. So it could be your favorite plant to eat, your favorite medicinal plant, your favorite plant to drink, your favorite plant to cultivate, but any favorite plant. So my name is Quinn, and one of my favorite plants, I have to say one of, because I have a lot of favorites, is the moringa tree.
Yeah.
I like to drink, yeah. Mama Gracie's on the moringa cake.
My favorite plant is mango because all the memories I had with my family on our farm in Nicaragua.
And favorite plant is probably lavender.
Favorite plant, gardenia.
The queen of gardenia. All right, thank y'all for introducing yourselves. So, like I mentioned previously, I just wanted to do a series on some natural plant amendments that we can make from home, so everybody's empowered to feed their plants things that will benefit them, and by benefiting your plants, feeding them great microorganisms and nutrients, we're doing that to ourselves as well. So it starts in the soil, and healthy soil, healthy plants, healthy people. No. So today we're mainly focusing on FPJ, or Fermented Plant Juice. Does anybody know what FPJ is or have any experience with FPJ? A professor, his last name is Cho, and basically they created a system from being inspired by the farmers in Korea, Japan, and China, and making natural ferments, natural amendments, things that plants can use that's not synthetic, that doesn't cost a bunch of money to do. You know, the idea is to use things that you produce on the farm, use things that you get in the garden, and use that to amend your plants. So you don't have to go to another store, you don't have to go to another farm. You can use the things that's around. I'll give a brief overview, and we can start on the workshop, and as we're doing that, we can talk about why it's beneficial and things like that. But basically, we're taking any of the plants that thrive in our environment, and we're taking the properties of that, whether it's their enzymes, their microorganisms, like the bacteria and fungi that grow on their leaves, and we're basically taking that and making it available for the other plants we want to cultivate. So for instance, one I love is Spanish needle. Is anybody familiar with Spanish needle?
Yep.
You like some Spanish needle?
Yeah, I'm probably a bad example.
So I'm gonna pass some Spanish needle around. I got this straight from the garden. And so Spanish needle is great because it's something that grows abundantly here in South Florida, and it also thrives. It thrives in the summer, it thrives in the winter, it thrives all year round. And so does anybody know what makes the plant thrive in this environment?
Bees.
Sun, bees, water, anything else? Soil, some good soil.
Millipede. Air quality.
Millipede, air quality, that's important, especially in the city. Anything else we can think of?
I'm thinking sound.
Oh, sound. That's vibration, so I feel like everything is influenced by that. So sound's a great one. I love those.
I love that thought. Like it's just so, it thrives in urban environments, and there's so much more sound and vibration like that. I'm just like, wow, like I'm taking that with me today.
Yeah.
Isn't there an experiment where you speak to your plants? You say, hey you, they kind of dwindle down. You speak love, and so that might grow abundantly. So that's why I just thought it sounded.
I love that because in that, it even shows you the power of your intention, you know, the energy that's behind the vibration that you speak. And there was a experiment with water, and we're made up of 75% water, different plants, different varying percentages and things like that. But through the experiment, when you spoke words of affirmations like I love you, I appreciate you, the structure of the water was more uniform and able to be more structured.
The model? It was the scientific.
Yes. Yeah. And so I highly recommend that to check it out on YouTube. So think about how that affects us. If we're spoken words of affirmations and we're made up of 70% water, then I feel like 70% of us is doing something, you know? But yeah, so another thing that makes Spanish needle grow so well are the enzymes that it produces and its natural immune system, per se, that can function in this, whether it's in the summer and it's super hot, or here in the wintertime when it's super dry. It also has different microorganisms like bacteria and fungi that are specific to that plant that allows it to thrive. And so the idea with FPJ is to take those organisms, take those enzymes and microorganisms that make that plant thrive in this environment and spray that on the plants that we want to cultivate, whether it's tomatoes, whether it's collard greens, whether it's anything, bananas. And so, yeah. So that's why FPJ is beneficial, because we can take the plants that are in our environment, that are natural and are thriving, and introduce those things that allow them to do that on the plants we want to cultivate. Because a lot of the plants that we want to cultivate aren't necessarily native, so they don't have the things that they'd be evolved to have in this environment, per se. And let me know if you have any questions throughout. Questions are the best way to learn and to teach, so let me know. Just shout them out. But yeah, all right. So if you guys would like to come up to your comfortability, we're gonna go up to the table and we'll start the demonstration. Today, I'll pass it around real quick. We will be using banana blossom. Let's check that out and pass it around.
Thank you.
This is the flowering part of the banana. So if you see these little things, these actually will turn into bananas. This one we got off a tree that already was done producing its bananas. So once we cut it off, all of that energy goes into creating those bananas, allow the sugars and stuff to continue to ripen those bananas up. And so a lot of people actually eat this part as well as like a vegan fish substitute type of vibe. Yeah,
Wow.
It's like a little heart in it. And so that's an option as well if you're vegan and looking for a fish substitute. But yeah, banana blossom.
Does it have any specific taste?
Yeah, for me, it's an interesting taste. I haven't got it right in terms of making the fish, but I think it's mainly the texture that people go for.
Yeah. Just like how mushrooms, you use it for mainly texture, not the flavor. If you're whipping it up for like a vegan chicken or something like that, but in this case, vegan seafood.
Vegan seafood.
Yeah.
And so I'm still experimenting with it, but I always use YouTube. That's my go-to. Yeah, straight up. You don't have to go to school anymore. Just hit up YouTube and figure out. What we do is we'll chop it up, whether it's the purslane, whether it's the Spanish needle, whether it's the banana blossom, and we want to chop it up fine so more surface area is exposed. And through the brown sugar and the process of osmosis, it'll kind of extract the water, extract the nutrients, and extract the organisms. And the organisms will actually go dormant or go to sleep until we reintroduce it into water, and they'll be like, yeah, that hydration, you know, I'm back, I'm good to go, you know. And so that's basically what we want. We want it to be inactive so that once we put it in water, they're ready to go and do their thing. All right, the first thing we're gonna do is chop this up.
And what part are you trying to get out right now?
We're gonna do the whole thing, but I wanna show people the inside. And it's this white part that you'd actually cook. Has anybody cooked with banana blossom before?
Oh, that's so cool.
Like roots within the plant.
The symmetry.
Oh, yeah.
So what we're going to do is cut this up into small pieces. All right, so we have this nice and chopped into small pieces. And then from there, what we're gonna do, I zeroed out the scale. And if you don't have a scale, don't worry. You can still do it at home. You just wanna make sure all of your plant parts are covered with brown sugar. So it's basically you want an equal amount of brown sugar to the amount of plants that you have in here. So kind of just, you can eyeball it. All about experimenting, it's all about trying new things. Especially if you're already gonna throw it out, you might as well throw some brown sugar in there and see what happens, you know? So I love that point. All right, specifically, correct me if I'm wrong, you're basically feeding the SCOBY sugars, and that's how it gets bigger. And then I'm gonna pass the bucket around to see, and then once we put the brown sugar, if you guys wanna help me mix it, we'll do that as well. So about 3 pounds, a little bit more than 3 pounds, 3 1/4. So what we'll do is we'll take our sugar. I like to get the rawest form of sugar. And so this is what I found, you know. So you can use any type of raw sugar. Molasses I wouldn't use just because it's already liquefied, and you want to have that osmosis process going on where the sugar kind of takes the water out of the plant. So since molasses is already kind of doing that already, it's not going to extract as much.
The same amount of sugar as what you have in that bucket?
Yeah, so we're putting the same amount of sugar as we have banana blossom in the bucket. So about a 1-to-1 ratio. Yeah, they're basically mixing up the brown sugar and the plant material, and we just want to make sure that all the surface area of the plant material is being covered with sugar.
Fish texture that could get you with this, like cooking it properly.
Yeah.
The fibers really hard. It's like good. You tell me when it's enough.
That's beautiful. Check it out. You wanna get your hand in there, Shannon? And this would be your Spanish needle if you have that around the yard, or your purslane if you have that. And if you don't have a scale, you just want to make sure, just like this, that all the surface area is kind of covered, you know.
And where does the Spanish needle come into play?
So instead of the banana blossom,
Yeah.
you can use the Spanish needle.
Okay.
So any plant that's in your area that's thriving, you could substitute with the banana blossom that we're just using for the demonstration. and that will be your plant for your fermented plant juice.
Understood.
And then over time, as all the water seeps out, it'll naturally go down.
It's like sauerkraut.
Yeah. Also doing that osmosis thing, there's more sugar to keep it going if this isn't enough. Oh, also if you have more microorganisms, it keeps them dormant. So it's kind of like a protection layer in a way. And that we had, I'm gonna throw that on top. So this takes about 5 to 7 days to fully ferment, and you'll basically notice that it's not producing any more juice anymore. And then from there, we'll do the next process, which is just straining it out. I want it to be in a place without direct sunlight. So in the dark is cool, indirect sunlight's cool, but you don't want it to be like beaded down on by the sun, you know. So from then, you'll dilute it in water at a 1 to 500, 1 to 800 ratio, and then you'll spray it on the foliage of your plant, the leaves. Then you spray it. So in the literature, they do like once a month type of vibe, but you can even do, say, like per season, you can do it. So there are living organisms in here, so you want to make sure that they can breathe. And so you can take, what I use is a paper towel, just like this. Since this one is already kind of formed fit, put that on here. Take a rubber band, twine, anything to just hold the paper towel, anything you have laying around the house. And then, boom. You let it sit like that just to make sure no flies get to it, no ants crawl into it. And then I'd go around again with some vinegar just to make sure that it's clean of sugars and stuff. Ink filter, and this will allow us to get the juice out while, so we don't get the biomass in there, we don't get the plants in there per se, we just want the juice. And so there's like a candied layer on top in a way. And so we'll just kind of scoop that back. Yeah. And you can eat this.
It tastes really good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like candy.
Yeah.
Let's eat some.
Right? Yeah, with the filter, this mesh filter, and so all this part is filtering out.
Wait.
Nice. We'll take it.
It's right here.
All right, perfect. So I'm gonna take some of this out. Thank you, Andrea. So you want a little bit of space because there's still living organisms in here. And so you want a little space for oxygen to be. Basically put a paper towel over it. And then it's good to go. Finished FPJ. This is good to go. You can go ahead and use it. You can check it out. But spray this at the bottom and it'll actually attract the pests to the bottom or to the soil or somewhere else instead of your fruits. So it's about working with Mother Nature instead of like, yeah, instead of annihilating everything.
Just redirecting it.
Redirecting the energy. So, like that. Yes.
Is it cool if we if I take a picture of the
Of course. Of course. That means that the microorganisms are really active, and so in order for them to go back dormant, you just put more brown sugar. So this is the finished FPJ. we'd store it in a dark space and it could be stored for up to a year. So just check on it, and if it starts to bubble up at the top, just add more brown sugar to kind of allow those microorganisms that are active to go back dormant.
Okay.
And then you'd use this at a ratio of 1 to 500, 1 part FPJ to 500 part water.
And then the third question I had, you said dark space, storage. I think that answered all of them, right?
Yeah.
You did, right?
Dilution.
All right, thank you, sir.
I got you, man.